Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Coast to coast college football.
Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. He's going to go out of there.
The sickest college football podcast.
There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards.
It's going to be sick.
That's right.
That's right, dude.
It's the Sick Podcast, Coast to Coast College Football Show. I'm John Lund, the East Coast side. He's Dan Lynch, the West Coast transplant, as you can see behind him. Happy College Football Playoff Eve, Dan. We've got here. Forget about the holiday season and getting excited for Christmas time. For a lot of people listening to this that are college football fans, this is their Christmas. Once these games start kicking off and everybody gets excited about these 12 teams, nothing matters about Santa and presents and excitement. It's when and where are the games, and that'll be it for the next couple weeks here as we try to crown a national champion. How are things going out there in assumingly sunny Los Angeles?
Yeah, weather this time of the year is like really day to day, but it has been absolutely beautiful. I can't complain the last like week or so. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe that we're at this point of the season from when we started this podcast to now, where it's like we got the 12 teams. People are not necessarily happy with like 4 of them, I would even say. But yeah, it's still when I look at the matchups tomorrow and Saturday, I still think there are chances of at least one upset. But it comes from a team that they've already played, and I'm talking about the Tulane Green Wave. And their head coach is literally getting 2 hours of sleep, apparently, because he is also the head coach of Florida while he prepares for Ole Miss in the college football playoff. And I think it's going to be a good game no matter what, because there's so many storylines going into this game. 1 from the Tulane side, but 2 also from the Ole Miss side. The saga of Lane Kiffin moving on to LSU. Now they don't have a head coach. They have most of their offensive staff back. They have a huge chip on their shoulder, but I worry about the layoff for them. I worry about, hey, we were one team literally a month ago. Now we have to start things right back up, kind of with a new head coach and a new mentality of how we approach a game day. It's going to be very interesting this weekend, John.
Yeah, and does Lane somehow still get the word around to his former now coaching staff of what he is seeing or what he might like to implement? He easily could be still coaching this game from somewhere in Louisiana on a Zoom call or on a phone. You got to check the sidelines to see if anybody's in communication with somebody, because leave it to Lane Kiffin to somehow have a hand in this. And then he would come out after and say, yeah, actually under the table, I was watching the game and added my 2 cents to one of the coaches, and I was able to kind of have a hand in what was going on here. So give me the national championship trophy there too, if they get there. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. I doubt that's going to be the case. I'm sure he's got enough yoga classes that he's got to attend on this weekend, so he'll probably be out of commission doing that.
Do you think he shows up to the game?
I don't think so.
I don't know either, because I think from his standpoint, if we're going with that theory as if he's still somewhat helping them coach and giving them input of like what they should do on an offense, I don't think he goes. But if he does go to the game, that means he completely was out of no game plan at all, because you're not, you can't do anything. You're not going to like have a secret headset and be like, hey, actually they're blitzing on this down. Like, but the other side of it too, which I think was confusing to casual college football fans who like found out like, oh, Lane Kiffin isn't coaching the team, but that's not that big of a deal because Charlie Weiss runs the offense, right? So like the question that we got a lot on the serious side was like, okay, what does a head coach even do on a game day?
Yeah.
And it all depends on the head coach, right? Like Weiss is calling the plays and all that type of stuff. And Kiffin is watching it from the sideline and being like, hey, maybe they're stunting on the inside every single time. We're running away from that. I'm going to give you my input to Charlie Weiss, now make a game plan for that. But really, like, it comes down to the coordinators at these major schools who are making decisions, because they're getting paid millions of dollars.
Sure.
They're the ones doing the real homework, the real grind work, the real film study, the real, like, hey, we're going to call this play on third down. They check it with the head coach to make sure that he's okay with it. But for the most part, like, Ole Miss to me is still the same Ole Miss if he's there or if he's not there. But they have a bigger chip on their shoulder because they want to prove everyone wrong. Like, how awesome would this be if they somehow just got to the national championship game without him? And it'd be like, we didn't need you, man. But at the same time, it's like, well, half of these kids on Ole Miss you will see in purple and gold next year because Lane taking them all up, man. So interesting story, man. That's a big storyline that I'm following. JMU making the college football playoff, John, I think is fun. I think it's fun. I think that's the best way to describe it. Now, fun doesn't necessarily mean I agree with it. The ACC, let's all start back there. So JMU to the ACC. The reason why JMU is in the playoff is because of how the ACC decided to crown their champion. Okay. I get that perspective and all that type of stuff. But, man, Saban said today on McAfee, would we allow a minor league baseball team into the MLB playoffs? No.
Now, Nick Saban obviously hasn't been to your former stomping grounds in a place I attend in frequent games in Music, Pennsylvania, to watch the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders play, because there's a lot of dudes on that team that could probably compete with the MLB players at different aspects. And if you have three good starting pitchers, as we know, there's an opportunity for you to take that series. Him saying that in jest, and it's funny bringing up the ACC and everything of that, when all of this happened on that Sunday and the selection committee came out with their rankings, and the big bombshell was obviously Miami now all of a sudden slipping ahead of Notre Dame, even though they didn't play a game the Saturday previous. Why now are they making that decision? I thought it was the right one. You thought it was the right one. We argued it days, weeks beforehand that it should have been flip-flopped right out of the gate when they had their first standings out. So it was right in the end, but it was wrong in the process for it. All of a sudden now, when you have Notre Dame in the rankings every week as a college football playoff team, all of a sudden the sun sets, and in the 23rd and a half hour, they're not. So their frustration was understandable. We had a week of that, and then it immediately shifted to, now that that's taken care of and we've used all our energy and spent all our air arguing about that decision and the Alabama situation of the whole thing, well, now let's focus on the group of five aspects. Why are James Madison and Tulane allowed in the college football playoff? And now the defense is on that. Well, there's no reason why we should be allowing these teams in. They have to have perfect seasons. They have to go Boise State style from many years back. Right. They need to be Cincinnati. They have to be one of these teams that just has a historic season where you can't possibly leave them out. There's no reason why they should be penciled in. And I don't agree with that, because these are the rules that were set. Exactly. This is what everybody agreed to. And now that it's put into practice, you can't go and say, well, this is wrong. This isn't how it should be. It's like in anything. Fantasy football playoffs is a great example happening now, where there's stat corrections or things go wrong and people want to say, well, maybe this should be the case, or how come I can't make this happen? Well, if you look at the rules at the beginning of the season, this is what was set in stone. You can't change things now because you don't like it. And yes, there's a chance that Tulane and James Madison get blown out. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Have we never seen a blowout game happen in the college football playoff, even when it was down to 4 teams? And this douchebag, Joel Klatt, coming out the other day and going on his rant about how the NCAA tournament sucks in college basketball and it's not the best way to crown a champion and we don't need these Cinderellas. Dude, you're mentioning teams in your rant like George Mason, etc., that haven't been to a Final Four, and we're going on 2 decades now where we've had stories like that. But the best teams are getting to the end. The best teams are going to get to the end here. You're not going to see this amazing run, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't include them in your college football playoff. This is what a playoff system is. You don't get a full slate of the best teams. That's not how it works in any professional or collegiate playoff system. In the National Football League, when the wild card team once in a while sometimes doesn't have even a 500 record and they make it in, are you supposed to say they don't deserve it? That's what it says. So this narrative now, all of a sudden, these last couple of days, as we're getting close to these games, that these teams aren't deserving, it's useless information at this point. If you want to bring that to the table when you're having this agreement now, is it going to be 14 or we're going to 24 or God forbid higher than that, 36, 64, everybody gets in. Let's just have let's have all the SEC get in to make sure everybody's happy. If you want to bring this up because it may not work this year, okay. But for this year and for this season in particular, they earn the right to get in. The ACC blew it on their end. That's just how the cookie crumbles some years. It happens all the time where it doesn't go perfectly every season, but that's how it goes in sports. You have to go with what happened on the field.
It's sports. It's supposed to be unpredictable, right?
Yeah.
You play a game to get an outcome of who is a winner and a loser, right? So when you go back to Notre Dame at the beginning of the year, they lost their games, okay?
Yeah.
No one's blaming Notre Dame for being not in a conference. Or people are blaming it. Like if you want this and you want to get in, okay, join the Big 10. Okay, join the Big 12. Okay, join the ACC, which I don't think is going to happen. Shit, man. Join the Pac-12. And I know that sounds as crazy as it is coming out of my mouth. But if you want a clear path to the playoff, join the Pac-12.
Right.
Join the Pac-12 because guess what? No matter what going forward, there's going to be one group of 6 school now because the Pac-12 will be a conference again next year, right? They technically were, but you're not going to put in Oregon State or Washington State, right? But like if you want a clear path, go in because you're going to get in and then you'll be fine and just move on and roll on. So it's very interesting. I also think it was like a little bit of like Irish tears of like them not playing in a bowl game. I don't think that was Marcus Freeman's decision. I truthfully believe he probably wanted these extra bowl practices. You see other players. And for these players too, like I think a lot of people don't realize is like, it's not just game film that gets shared when other coaches are recruiting them going to the portal. All these players or coaches are sharing their practice film as well. Yeah. So those are very valuable days to prep for, I don't know, the Xbox Bowl. Let's just say they make that, or the Tire Rack Bowl. I don't know. Like anything like that, those are valuable to players, and they didn't get that chance just because Notre Dame was very salty. So yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it's a very weird thing. I do think this thing is going to expand. And if it does expand to about 24 to 28 teams, like a lot of people are talking about, then we're just creating a super conference, right? Because we're all playing for the national championship game. Right. So it only matters till that. So you're creating essentially like, okay, if you win your games that you're supposed to, you're going to be into the super college football playoff conference, and then you could win a national championship game, man. But this stuff, I just feel like really now, more than ever, the pendulum is swinging just to college football really being a professional aspect of the way the game has moved on to. And it kind of sucks, man, because like there was always just a little bit of fun to it of just like, hey, these guys are going to be, accountants next year or anything like that. Now it's just like, dude, I don't even know who they're going to play for next year, and they're going to try to go to the NFL. They're not going to be good enough. Like it's, I don't know. It's a weird feeling that I have the taste in my mouth. But with that being said, I'm going to be watching every single game, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, the narrative from the coaches, from the people around the programs that actually matter, you're not going to hear coaches say the bowl games don't matter to them for a myriad of reasons. The main one being, as you mentioned, those 15 practices is an extra camp. It's spring football. It's summer camp. Now you get a completely different aspect of having a winter camp, 15 extra practices. All 12 of these teams that we're going to watch in the college football playoff made a bowl game last year. You don't think for 8-4 Texas Tech in 2024, those games weren't important for Joey McGuire and getting a number 4 seed? You don't think that Kirk Cignetti, 2 years ago at James Madison, when they went on that amazing run, made a great bowl game, had those extra 15 practices. He took 15 or so of those players, a coaches with them to Indiana, had a great season last year, and now got to the Big Ten championship and won the thing and are the number one team in the country with several of those guys that went on that run in those bowl games with him. You don't think that was meaningful for him? You don't
Great
think
point.
that a coach at Texas A&M in his first year last year, making it to a bowl game at 8-4, getting to know his players a little bit better, now making it to the college football playoff, that bowl game didn't matter? These coaches love these bowl games because it not only gets them the opportunity to have seniors play in their last game and throw their shoes up over the electrical wire and all the good that comes with it for the fans that get one last time to cheer. They're seeing who they're going to have for next year and people that they may not have been focused on all season in practice. I understand the transfer portal is a huge deal in this, and it comes at an awful time, and we can't stress that enough, that the calendar in college football needs to change. Listen to just Joey McGuire, for example, talk about fixing it, where you make week 0 actually week 1, and everything would finish before the new year starts, and we wouldn't have to deal with half of these problems that we have. But to say that because you're sitting at home on your couch and your brain focus now is only on the 12 teams and who's going to win the national championship, and if your team or a team that you're going to watch on TV isn't playing in a quote-unquote important game, that all of this doesn't matter, you're crazy.
Yeah.
This matters to the teams. It matters to the programs. It matters to the players. It matters to the continued evolution of where these schools want to get to. And case in point is all 12 teams that are currently playing in the college football playoff. If you sat every coach down and said, how important was last year's bowl game to this year's success, they'd all have the same answer, that it mattered.
100%, man. 100%. But it also, impacts local economies as well.
Yeah.
And also broadcasters who were getting paid an extra paycheck to cover this game. Engineers. I mean, there's so many things that impact it. I think also, John, next year, I don't know who the teams are who filled in for 3 or 4 teams who have declined their bowl games. But I would love to see what their records are next year because of this. Because I think it's a great
5 and 7 teams, these 6 and 6 teams.
Like a
see
Rutgers.
If they improve by a game or 2 next year.
Yeah, exactly. See how it was. It's going to be interesting. I also think we need to probably change the way that we approach conference championship games, and if they should be a conference championship game or a college football playoff play-in game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think we would have seen
title.
that change, Dan, real soon if Alabama got left out, because the SEC always wants it both ways. If they have an opportunity for who's playing in their championship game for the conference to make the college football playoff, they love it. But if they have an opportunity to have the loser get knocked out, it's the worst thing in the world. They want it both ways, where it either benefits them or it doesn't impact them if they lose. The prime example is Alabama. BYU got bumped out. Every team that lost either got bumped down spots like Ohio State or got bumped out of the college football playoff completely, like Virginia, BYU, and teams in the FBS, the group of 5 that nobody's listening about, and Duke. So if it happened with Alabama and the committee was so close to just, I don't want to say being historic, but finally having a year where we didn't have to come down on them for stupid, they could have made a great decision and left Alabama out and changed potentially the outlook of college football because of what the conference championships games will become. Because, Greg Sankey was going to say, well, we're either going to have teams opt out or we're going to pick the teams that play in to see who can make it in with an extra game. Okay. You don't think Texas and Vanderbilt would have played an extra game in 2 seconds to try and make the college football playoff? You don't think teams in the Big Ten and the ACC and the Big 12 would have done the exact same thing to get that extra game, to get more eyes on them, to try to get into the playoff? No question. But again, that's not how things currently stand. If that shook up the college football world, they would have changed it in a heartbeat. And in a way, that's better for the sport. For it to be a play-in game like you're talking about, for Miami to have had a chance to play in another game against St.
Not
George's
just get it based off the head-to-head matchups.
Right.
And again,
earn your way in. Show them they deserve to be in.
And just like everything, things change over time. These teams are very different than what they were at the start of the year to now.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I know why JMU is in. I know why Tulane's in. I think Tulane makes it in no matter what this argument. But you got to play the game. You have to. But I'm sorry, no matter what, to me, Tulane or Oregon versus Texas, Oregon versus a Notre Dame, Oregon versus a BYU is a way better game and a way better setup to naming a true national champion. We saw Ohio State last year, right? Go on a heater from their home playoff game to where it ended as national champions. Oregon's in a situation just like that this year.
Yeah.
Where they could just go. I feel real confident. We just beat the crap out of a team who isn't bad. Like, listen, JMU could run the ball. But then I also look at it, John, where I'm like, okay, in the Sun Belt Championship game, they almost lost to fucking Troy.
Yeah, they did.
They were in a game with Troy. No disrespect to the Trojans, but you were in a game with fucking Troy.
Conversely, when Tulane did play Ole Miss, they didn't look awful. They didn't look that bad. They didn't look terrible. So when you're using the eye test that the committee likes, there is a little bit of difference there as well.
The other thing about that Tulane game versus Ole Miss, that was Trinidad Chambliss's first game as the quarterback. So there was no film on him. There was nothing. You could go to the Ferris State stuff. But now these DCs at Tulane and defensive staffs have film on him.
Yeah,
that could change dramatically. I would love it. I would love the story of the BYU turning into the Cajun Jew winning. I love Summerall. I think he's the guy for Florida. I would love to see that. And again, Chanley is a hell of a coach at JMU. I think he's going to do some good things out west at UCLA. They have a lot of other issues out here, but if there's one guy to change the mentality of that program, it's a guy like him, man. I'm not saying, hey, it's going to be a Cignetti type of turnover, because I don't think we're ever going to see that ever again in college football. Shout out to Cignetti too, two-time Coach of the Year award. So
yeah, and looks like he was walking to a funeral at the end of the Big Ten championship to shake Ryan Day's hand.
I love it. I love it.
This is business, man. This is where I expected to be. What are you talking about?
I love it. I love Mendoza. I love this team. But I am worried. They're one of their best pass rushers. Did you see this at the end of the Big Ten championship game, going around, high-fiving the fans, jumps up, ACL, just says, see you later, bro. It was fun. Gone.
Crazy.
Dude, that sucks. But I think there are some dogs on that Indiana team that they'll be able to fill it in and be fine. But you lose a senior like that who's just like a heart of the team type of guy and a confidence builder when you're on the field. I played with dudes where I was like, I know I'm going to make a play because you're going to be doing your job. That's the mentality of that. I forget his name. I think he's a defensive end. And he's a beast, man. So that really hurts. But the only thing is I worry about these top four teams, and we saw it last year. It's just this layoff, man. And these are college kids, okay? They got girl issues.
Sure.
They got to go home. They're partying, man. That layoff and that focus kind of goes away when you're off for a little bit. And I wonder how these teams have handled Thanksgiving, how they're going to handle Christmas. I mean, it should be really, really interesting. I don't think it's chalk once we get to the semis. I think really any of those teams can win a championship, whoever gets there. And again, if Tulane and JMU do somehow get there, I still believe they could win a national championship, because it's damn, you beat those teams on the road in hostile environments. If JMU beats Oregon in Oregon, watch out, because that could be really wild. But I just don't see it happening, man. I just don't see it happening.
There's a lot of big boys in the Power Four conferences on the lines that you got to deal with, and it's tough to take control on either end where you can have an advantage in a game like that. Everything seems to be won in the trenches when we get to games like this. There's a lot of big dudes that they're going to be going up against. You got a big shoe to fill to try and at least get on one side of the ball And maybe you look out on special teams, obviously, and you could turn the game around that way and flip the field in your favor. But they got a lot going against.
A lot of those dudes were on the Rose Bowl team last year too, who have a huge chip on their shoulder who lost that game. And hold on. Yeah, you can throw that out. Okay. Yeah. I'll take care of it.
This is where we're going to let the listening and viewing audience know Dan is so wealthy out in Los Angeles. He has a cleaning service come to the house.
Yeah, on the left.
Have people come in, clean up his messes, make sure the vacuuming's done and all the chores.
Okay.
So this is what we get out in Los Angeles. Ritzy Dan Lynch, where we're over here in New York slumming it, shoveling our own snow, putting up our own Christmas lights. This dude's got a cleaning guy coming in. I asked if he knew ball, and I guess he doesn't, but we'll have to have him on.
He knows how to clean his stuff. He crushed it. Shout out to Samir. He's the man. He showed up a little late today. That's why I had some issues with him today, but it's all good.
If they want to advertise on the program, we're not going to turn them down.
For sure.
No, we'll have the whole LA place filled up with cleaning services galore. It's the season. It's holiday time. You got to spruce up the house before the family comes and visits.
100%. Okay, John. Do you agree with Pavia? Fuck the voters.
No. And it was funny to hear some of the voters that, for whatever reason, thought he deserved it afterward be like, Aaron Taylor was one. I think Reese Davis was another where they said, hey, I kind of regret my vote now based on what he did afterward.
Oh.
You didn't see that coming? If he didn't win, what has he shown you on or off the field? Where off the field, he's got his girl wrapped around his arm for the post-game interviews on national television. You can't just wait 2 minutes and have her off the camera before you go do whatever. He's doing the Heisman pose during the game. He's what's the off-brand website that people buy stuff from?
Temu. Yes.
Temu version of Johnny Manziel, where he hasn't won anything of note. They were already building the new stadium at Vanderbilt while he was playing there. Johnny Manziel had them have to build a new stadium because of all the people he was bringing to the stands. So it's a little bit different in that regard. That's just who he is. I'm not shocked at people for being shocked at what he did afterward. And, hey, you don't become one of the best college quarterbacks in the country sometimes unless you're a cocky bitch. If you can back it up on the field and bring Vanderbilt up to where they were for the last couple of seasons, you want to go around with a chip on your shoulder, dude, and show up with your mafia brothers at the ceremony. Go ahead.
I mean, John,
you deservedly put yourself in that position, but people shouldn't be shocked afterward when he keeps doing the same thing. And then some PR team had to be like, hey, can we put out a statement on your behalf so maybe you could get drafted and we'll just type something up real fast you could put out on your story.
It was complete AI. It was complete AI, but he had my fake vote. Like, for all those reasons that you just said. Don't get me wrong, Mendoza is a hell of a quarterback, and stat-wise, you can make the argument that he deserves it. And he does.
This way, Dan.
He completely does. But
20 years from now, when we look back on this season, what quarterback are you going to remember? Diego Pavia. From whatever he does with Theo Vaughn and his mother, from whatever he did on the field. Nothing against Fernando Mendoza, but he's not going to break the headlines with stuff that he does because he's just as even-keeled. They put him behind a microphone. Everybody's got to comment about how he speaks, how he talks. Is he reading from a paper? And all this negative nonsense. Diego Pavia is probably going to be the name that the Gen Zers and under are going to be able to pull in 20 years if somebody goes, hey, remember that random year in 2025 where there wasn't really a good quarterback? Arch Manning fucking sucked. Abe Klubnik didn't do anything with Clemson. None of the preseason guys did anything. Who won the Heisman? I don't remember, but remember when that guy showed up with his two brothers and he looked like he was walking into a UFC fight? Who was that guy? Oh, yeah, Diego. That's how it's going to go at the bar.
Do you think he still gets drafted?
I don't think so. Although it's such a low bar for this draft for quarterbacks that a team is probably going to take a flyer just because there's nothing left. They'll be scraping the barrel to find somebody.
I go back to the argument of like, okay, well, if you look at Dylan Gabriel's numbers from last year and Pavia's numbers are better.
Yeah.
Okay. And he played in the SEC.
Yeah.
I interviewed Gabriel last year at the Rose Bowl. He's tiny, dog.
Dan on the street?
5'9".
Yeah, he's
max.
a short dude.
Stocky, but like
could
tiny.
Sling it. But yeah,
he could
small.
sling it. So if you're gonna give him a shot, you should give Pavia a shot. Also, like just from like like as a struggling Giants fan, who's in rehab for it, like having a guy like Tommy DeVito on my team, like the last couple of years, gave us kind of like hope and reasons to watch on Sunday. If you're the Raiders and your quarterback who you have, because Pavia is not a starting quarterback in this league. I think he's a fill-in quarterback. I think he's a guy that you have on your roster. You put him on your practice squad and you make him just a PR darling and you just have fun with it. But like if you're the Raiders, take a chance on him. Like take a chance on him and just see what happens. So
take a chance on anybody right now, Raiders.
I mean, yeah. So should we get into some picks for this weekend, Johnny boy?
Yeah, let's get into a couple quick picks since you got things going on in LA, man. You're coming, you're going. There's a lot to see. There's a lot to do around this time of the year.
Yes.
Well, we got to start with the game number one that's going to come out fresh out of the gate with two teams that a lot of people were iffy on even making the college football playoff and assuredly won't have a conversation for either team that loses after that they were undeserving to get in the first place. That won't be a narrative at all, especially if it's a blowout game. Alabama, Oklahoma, a 9-8 matchup right out of the gate. They played already. They know each other. Brent Venables, not our guy, but I at least used to listen to his press conferences and his 10-minute long opening statements after a Chris Plank question. Shout out Chris Plank. I'm sure
he's Chris Plank, dog. Hey.
A part of me really wants to take Alabama here just because of the narrative of them shouldn't being in. Like we've seen this so many times in playoffs where the team that shouldn't be in, quote unquote, ends up going on a run or ends up winning that first game. I kind of want to just ride that and have that be the nobody thought we deserved to be here. Look at us type of deal. They might be able to just squeak one out, even though the results didn't go the way the first time. It's hard to keep beating teams again in this league.
Yeah, you're so right. But I brought it up in the show before. Like, teams are different from the last time that they had played each other. And now that you have these new coordinators and offensive coordinators who study this shit all day long, I'm going with Oklahoma just based off their defensive line because the way that Georgia got to Simpson was 2 weeks ago. In the SEC championship game is their game plan for what Oklahoma can do against them. So if you're Oklahoma, you're studying that and being like, this is exactly where we need to attack. I don't know if the starting center from Bama is back. That makes a huge difference for me. But like Georgia, it's not the same Georgia defense that we're used to where you're like, okay, that's a number one pick. That's a number one round, first round pick. That like they don't have those type of guys and they did that against Bama. Simpson looked rattled. And I think if you could get to him and throw him off his game, something happens to him and something happens to the offense where they panic and go. I'm going with Oklahoma. And this game's also in Norman. So I think that's a huge difference.
Well, I mean, if you won in Alabama by a couple, should be able to win at home again.
But then it's like, okay, there's more pressure. And I'm assuming Mateer's thumb is like as healthy as it has been all year. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm looking at like a 17-21 game going Oklahoma.
I'll fly through here just to make sure you can make all the things that you have.
Are you coming, dude? You got the invite. You could come. Like, fly on out, dude.
3-hour flight. I could probably get there for last call.
Yeah, dude. You got the PJ.
The house is already clean, so I don't have to take care of that. I'll just leave an extra tip under the refrigerator, and we'll be good. I'm going to pick Oregon to win, obviously, but I heard Bill Connolly today on VSiN talk about the SP Plus that he so eloquently puts out weekly and does a tremendous job. He said this is one of the biggest mismatches as far as the point spread. He has it as like 14-15. So based on that, I'll take the 3 touchdowns, 0.5, and hope that they just can not lose by 3 touchdowns. But as far as end results, I mean, this would be one of the shocks of all shocks for Oregon, who you had mentioned earlier in the show with the 5th seed. They have technically the easiest path as far as the numbers that they'll see in opponents, though they would have to play the one extra game. So Texas Tech is no slouch, but at least on the paper, they have the easiest path. I will go Ole Miss as well, and I'm going to take Miami to beat Texas A&M in a similar fashion of should they have gotten in or not. Maybe this is the Miami team that'll show up that people expected to see all season with that defense.
Yeah, I hate to be boring here, but I completely agree with you on everything. The one thing I will say, I do think the Tulane game is going to be closer than people think.
Yeah.
And listen,
which is good. It's great for the sport. Which is good.
Exactly. We need that. We need that because we need these Power 6 teams in conferences to be good, and they have gotten better. But the biggest problem I have, John, is it's like if you look at the American Conference, how many head coaches left last year or last year to next year? And again, that's what you're supposed to be doing at these jobs. They're stepping up jobs, right?
And like those are some of the first schools that these Power 4 places go to people in the transfer portal. So yeah, like
batting
with a hand behind their back.
We need that, right? And then like next year, I could see the Pac-12 being the American of this year. Like it's gonna be a really competitive. Like Washington State's gonna be good, Oregon State's going to be good. Fresno State, like all those teams are going to be good. And then guess what? All those coaches and players are going to get poached. And then you just move it on to next year. Then it's going to be the Sun Belt. Like, so you're right. We do need those teams to be good. And I guess we're not going to give our national champions now, but like, well, as we keep on going, we will. But man,
look, these are the play-in games, Dan. Let's get to the actual part of the bracket.
Do you think a national champion is playing on this weekend?
Wow. Yes. I think one of the teams will at least get to the national championship game, and that would be Oregon or Miami, in my humble opinion.
If Miami wins, let's just say this game, they win and then they get eliminated the semis, are they back?
I don't think so.
Quote unquote back.
They don't, at least at this point. The narrative around them right now is just crickets. There has been no Miami hype at all. Even going into this game, you don't hear anything about the defense. You don't hear anything about Carson Beck. You don't hear anything about a Cristobal turnaround. There just has been nothing because they haven't played in so long. And the last thing we heard of them is, well, should they have really gotten in? They haven't built up the momentum needed, I don't think, to get to being back. Now, if they win a couple, I think that's the answer is yes, because they're going to have that, well, remember the Miami teams of old, where do they compare? Like once the media starts turning them around, absolutely. At this point, they're very low on the totem pole of who people care about, which is interesting. Very interesting.
It's going to be fun, Johnny boy. It's going to be fun.
I'm looking forward to it. That's going to do it for us here on the Sick Media Podcast. YouTube, Twitter, find us at all the places that you listen to your stuff. You can find us at London Bridge. That's LUNDINBRIDGE. He's at Dan Lynch Sports. Dan, LYNCHSPURTS. We're also at SickPod CFB, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the places. And you mentioned the Pac-12, Dan. What I'm most excited about for the return of the Pac-12 is that we'll get our jobs back on Pac-12 radio.
Let's go.
See you soon, Jeff and Sean.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Coast to Coast College Football on YouTube, X, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.